Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Flat Earth School, the school that is around us 24/7 since the beginning of existence. I am Mitchell from Australia, and I've been washed out. It is actually the first time in 42 episodes of Flat Earth School that I'm not physically able to go out and film any beautiful scenery of our Flat Earth School. So I'm inside today. I'm just chilling with you guys. I'm going to do a bit of a presentation. It's going to be hopefully a bit better quality than just sharing my screen. Parkway, how are you, mate? Service D, sorry for mispronunciation. How are you? Good to see you guys here. I might even drop the link to the studio in the chat a bit later on after my presentation. Oh, hell, I might do it now. If anyone wants to join, I'm going to put the link to the studio in the chat. It's now in the chat. If anyone wants to call up, just say hey, give us a question. Trolls, be warned, you won't be sticking around too long. I have full control of the studio, so don't try that stuff. Arwen, hello, how are you, mate? PJCnet says hey, Mitch. Hey guys, thanks for turning up to another beautiful edition of Flat Earth School inside today. As I just mentioned, I've been washed out. Way too wet, and there's a bit of thunderstorms around too. If it does get a bit wild and crazy out there, I might try and stick the camera outside to capture through a few bolts of lightning. We had a hailstorm the other day. That was pretty cool. Arwen says, this sounds like it could be interesting. Spotlight, you say? Yeah, Arwen. The sun in the heliocentric model, they have the spotlight, not us flat earthers. Us flat earthers are told constantly that we have a spotlight above our heads, circling above an AE model. Yeah? What about your model, flat globers? You actually have the spotlight. Your heliocentric sun is a spotlight. I'm going to be doing a bit of a presentation on that today. Nicole Diesel, how are you? Like Arwen says, like the square Earth light model suggests. Not sure if I'm familiar with that, Arwen. Can't comment on that, on the square Earth light model. I'm going to be specifically detailing how the globe, the heliocentric model, has a spotlight for their sun. Snowbirds, how are you, mate? Gabriel Padilla. Did my kids get the $50 each? Well, yes and no. So Wally has, as I requested, become my patron, which I can't fault him for. He did sign up to my Patron. He did sign up for the initial $100, and I said, which one of my children is missing out on their $50? They all met your challenge, Wally, and so he obliged. Yeah, I can't fault him on that. He did sign up to my Patron for $150. So one of my, I can't say my newest because I had a few after Wally signed up to Patron, but one of my newest patrons is Where's Wally? He is now a proud supporter of the Mitchell from Australia YouTube channel. He is obviously one of my biggest fans. He is actually now my biggest patron. So thank you very much, Wally. You're here supporting the channel that you love to hate. And yeah, you are a better bloke than Mr. Sensible, who he did not pay up anything. So Gabriel Padilla, he has signed up to my Patreon for $150. He has said that he will stick around until the money does get deducted, which is usually the first of the month. So we've got another, what is it, the 14th? So we've got about 2 weeks. We'll see if Wally sticks around for 2 weeks. So yes, we did meet Where's Wally's challenge, and yes, he did pay up. So an honest Glober for once. It's a breath of fresh air, isn't it? Who else we got? Jess Palmer. Jess Palmer was using my video as proof. Then somebody tried to tell me that Where's Wally had been destroying me daily, and told them, yeah, you told them Wally was a joke. Thanks, Jess. Thanks for clearing that up. Flat Earth Vegan. He says he has to hear my live stream with RV Russian vids. Yeah, that was a great stream. with Russian vids. That was very impromptu. I got messaged by DRTRH the evening before, and he said, "You should get Russian videos on your next stream." I'm like, "Why? Why does that have to be my next stream?" And he said, "Well, because number 33." And so I messaged Russian vids. He obliged. He came on. It was a great stream. We talked about just flat Earth, just the world in general at the moment. Flat Earth vegan. Yeah, you do need to see that stream with myself and Russian vids number 33. Flat Earth School number 33. He thought it was pretty funny too. 33. Dally Jacobson, the group is getting bigger. Arwen, he said he'll link through the animation as soon as he can find it. Okay. Susie Wellness School. Susie, you got your own school too. What kind of is it your own personal school, or is it a school that benefits other people too? That's cool. Cool name for YouTube channel. Susie's Wellness School. Very cool. Yeah, no, PJC Net says full credit to him. Yep. Wally has pledged to my Patron. I have not received the money as yet because it hasn't come out, but yeah, fair play to Wally, says Bree. Yep, not going to fault him on that. Atlantis Rising says it's not a spotlight, it appears to be a point of light, a termination of energy source. YouTube search Eric Dollard. Someone needs to get Eric Dollard on a podcast. Yeah, I'll look into that. Thanks, Atlantis Rising. Specifically on our what is called our flat Earth model, which we don't live a model. We don't have a model. Some people like to think that our flat Earth is represented by the AE map, which is a globe projection, and people like who is it, Professor Dave, like to point out that we would have a spotlight sun above our heads, rotating above our heads. No, Dave, as I'm about to show you guys, it is you who think you live in the heliocentric model that has a spotlight sun above your head. It is hilarious. It's going to be a good presentation. Gabriel Padilla says, yeah, good on him. Talking about where's Wally. Not a schmuck like Mr. Sensible. Armin, what's that link for? Thank you for posting it. Yeah, Lord Weiss commands it. All right, so I think I might get into the presentation. Oh, Susie Wellness School says, yes, it's very new. Thank you. I'm doing a free printables for both wellness techniques and homeschool. I definitely need to add Flat Earth School in there. Thanks, Susie. Yeah, Flat Earth School is very good. So check out Susie's Wellness School. Maybe click on her icon. Hopefully it goes to your YouTube channel, Susie's Wellness School. Whereabouts are you located, Susie? Is it in Australia or is it international? Seed planting says, I just lost it. Is there any gas that goes down in a vacuum? It doesn't matter what the medium is that gas is being introduced in or resides in. Gas will absolutely expand freely and rapidly in all directions. It doesn't just go down, go boom, boom, especially in a vacuum. So you've got a vacuum, which is a situation, a medium of very low amount of anything. Usually it would be just gas remaining in there. That you're never going to get a perfect vacuum. There's no such thing as a perfect vacuum, but in a vacuum chamber, if you want to make that example, if you introduce gas into that vacuum chamber, it is not going to just sit on the ground of the vacuum chamber. It is going to expand freely and rapidly in all directions. So I hope that answers your question, seed planting. Yeah, gas has never been observed to just sit on the ground and stay on. We don't sweep up puddles of gas. We're not tripping over gas as we're walking through our world. It just does not happen. That is not what gas behavior is. Atlantis Rising says David White should send his app to NASA for free and force those employees to see their employers are liars. Yeah, that would be. If you're involved in NASA, you're kind of part of the club. So I think they're too far gone. Yeah, maybe some of the plebs at the lower levels of NASA, they might appreciate these sorts of flat Earth videos to show that their employer is absolutely lying to themselves and the world. Arwen says it shows the square Earth light projector model of the sun. Still not familiar with that model, Arwen, but thank you. Thank you for detailing that. Christchurch, Susie's Wellness School is, oh, sorry, no. In the UK? So there's a Christchurch in the UK. I was not aware of that. I was going to say New Zealand. So Susie's Wellness School is in the UK, Dorset, Christchurch. She says she loves flat Earth thinking. Don't we all? Robbie Wright says, hello, meet you on chat box. How are you going, guys? John Furr, one of my awesome patrons. Globular theory dictates we are not breathing air since it's all sucked off into space. Well, I think a global might pull you up on that and says it's blown off into space, but yeah, there's definitely a space for the gas to fill. So if it was available, it would absolutely expand freely and rapidly into space. That's why it's called space. It is a space for the gas to expand into. I'm going to pull up my Patreon and just shout out the awesome people who have signed up to my Patreon. You guys are fantastic. I'm getting more and more patrons every day. I really appreciate it. Okay, so let's go through the list of patrons. I did say I was going to shout out Wally when he signed up, so here we go. So Aaron Armstrong, he is another Globe believer. Sometimes a troll in my chat and YouTube channel, but he has pledged another $50. He's become a super VIP. Thank you, Aaron Armstrong. Really appreciate the support. Where's Wally? It says 100, but no, he's pledged 100. No, sorry, it does say 150. Yet to pay, but he has pledged his support to the Mitchell from Australia YouTube channel. Where's Wally is now a proud patron of myself. Lumberjack, another awesome patron, pledges another $50. Thank you, Lumberjack. They are my 3 new patrons. And I also got Mokai Bahopu. He's another Glober, $100. Thank you, Mokai. He's going to be presenting evidence that we are living on the globe. He's going to be taking up the Bitcoin challenge from David Weiss. If you didn't see the most recent attempt at the Bitcoin challenge, please go to the Nathan Oakley 1980 channel. Look at the show 1507. It was epic. The bloke came in fully charged, thinking he was going to attempt to get David Weiss's 3 Bitcoins. That is what's on the table. And obviously, he probably didn't even realize that there were 2 criteria before coming in and trying to give some globe Earth proof in order to get that 3 Bitcoin. You first have to download the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. Then you need to watch the daily video every day for 2 weeks. And then you need to just give us 1 globe proof. And then you'll get 3 Bitcoin. And as you'd see if you subscribe to the Nathan Oakley 1980 channel, show number 1507, it is epic. Yeah, it goes for about 2 hours, but it is epic. It is pretty much a summary of a lot of the arguments that we've been arguing against the globe trolls, the anti-flat earthers for the past couple of years. It was an epic show. Everyone really needs to go and see that. All right, back to Patreon. So Emmanuel Carducci, Ryan Williams, David Weiss, Victor Garcia, Dale Bourne, John Furr, Dusty Ryder, Gobbercley T, Will Brax, Ronald Jurek, BMLSB69, John Swartz, Brian Leakey, Alec One Show, Michael Kahn, Malcolm Foster, Angie S, Dawn Judds, and Paul on the Plane. You guys are all freaking awesome. Thank you for supporting myself, my family, my YouTube channel, my work. I really appreciate it. The link is in the description. We've got a caller. Okay, I'll add him to the stream. Titan Long, how are you, mate? You're live on Flat Earth School. How can I help you? I think you're unmuted. You're muted. You chosen to be muted at the moment. Do you want to unmute and say hello, Titan Long? Nope. Okay. I didn't want to stick around. He might not have noticed that, known that he came straight to the studio here. All right, so they were my awesome patrons. Thank you, guys. The link is in the description to my Patron. You can also sign up to ROKFIN if you don't want to support Patron. There's also becoming a member of my YouTube channel. But today I'm going to be talking about the Heliocentric Spotlight Sun, because it is their model that has the spotlight sun, not us. We just have that light in the sky. Who knows what it is? It's the sun. It's there, and it's always there. It is very. It goes in a cycle that is very predictable. It has been for since the beginning of existence, as far as we know. It signifies the days, and it is used for celestial navigation. Another flat Earth proof. To get an angle to something like the sun, we need a flat baseline in the first instance. I'll just go through the chat before I go into my presentation, because I won't be looking at it for at least 10 minutes. Atlantis Rising says they reckon that the wind is generated by tech and not natural. Yeah. I think it's pretty natural. It's just high pressure flowing to low pressure. High pressure created from the sun. The sun is the biggest entropy generator known on this earth. Heats up everything on this earth. Like those puddles on the ground, they don't just stay there. They are heated by the sun. There's energy introduced to those puddles. The molecules, they just change phase. They go from a liquid into a gas. And let me point out that the gas is created at ground level. It's not created in the sky. It's created at ground level. And if it's created at ground level, where does it then expand to? It expands freely and rapidly in all directions, upwards, outwards, sometimes downwards. But is created at ground level. So there is definitely not a bias of down. There is not a downward acceleration. Gas is created at ground level. It doesn't sit at ground level. We're not going to trip over gas at ground level. We're not going to have to sweep up some puddles of gas. That's not how gas behaves. It expands freely and rapidly in all directions. Puddles on the ground will absolutely expand upwards, outwards, and downwards. Not just downwards, everywhere. All right. True niece, good to see you here. Sweet evidence of the globe. I have been looking for that. No, it's yeah, it's not. Well, credit to McCoy. I haven't seen his evidence yet. I'm still waiting for him to present it. I might message him and say, are you ready yet? It has been about 2 weeks. I think he knows the criteria there to meet. Download the Flat Earth Sun, Mood, and Zodiac Clock app. Watch the daily video for 2 weeks, and then just give us one globe proof. Yeah, PJC Net says it is a huge amount of money at the moment. 3 Bitcoin, it's over $50 each Bitcoin. So it's probably like 165,000 US, which is like millions Australian, because our conversion rate is so high. Alvin Wilson says good morning. Yeah, it's great that people are challengers, says Atlantis Rising. That's how boxing hype works. Bring it on. Yeah, that's how the hype works. And that's how the stigma of the globe proof gets shot down. Yeah, there is no globe proof. You first have to, in every single I'm sorry, I was just looking at the chat. Every single piece of globe evidence, every single instance of a globe proof starts with begging the question that you're already on a globe. And that's going to be the first thing that I'll be presenting here, or one of the first things. All right, so let's go into the presentation here. So yeah, I did title this show "Your Heliocentric Sun is a Spotlight." So let's go into it. So we've got a little clip of, I think it's Professor Dave. Let's see what Professor Dave has to say.
What is night and day? If you try to place a luminous object like the sun above a plane like the flat Earth, how does light reach half the plane and not the other half? Say you come up with a mechanism whereby light dissipates appropriately.
And there's that assertion. Our spotlight sun above a flat Earth. Was the audio coming through, all guys, all right for you guys? Yeah, so we've got the claim, we've got the assertion by Professor Dave that we on being flat Earth believers. Not believers. We live in a flat Earth. It has been proven. It has been measured. It's been navigated. We live on a flat Earth. It is just not this flat Earth that is being displayed in this video by Professor Dave. He uses an AE map, an azimuthal equidistant map that has the geographic north in its center, in its bullseye. Yeah, that is so wrong. There's nothing that we can extrapolate geographic north from other than the sky, the stars. So once again, they have to look at the sky and the stars to tell us where we're living, to tell us the layout of the land. No, we can just use something like a compass to see where our only one true absolute direction is, magnetic north. And that's what should be. Me and Anthony Riley were talking about this other night. Where they get magnetic declination from is what they call the error from the magnetic north, from the compass, that absolute direction, to geographic north, which is their axis point, their rotation point. That point north, which is around about Polaris, where they say that their geographic north is, their axis point where their globe Earth rotates around. Yeah, you're going to need half of that. You're going to need to prove that we're living on a globe before you can say that, number one, we have an axis, and number two, that we're rotating. So the AE map is just another globe Earth projection. And John Furr gives me 20 Canadian dollars for a super sticker. You are awesome. Thank you, John Furr. One of my awesome patrons. I got asked last night by one of Aaron Armstrong, one of my newest patrons. He is a globe believer. He said that, have I found that globe believers are more generous than flat earthers? And he made the example of Ranty. I think he was trying to say that's why Ranty came over to the globe side, because of monetary support. No, I'm finding absolutely that I have an overwhelming support from awesome flat earthers like John Furr, he sends me regularly 20 Canadian dollars as a super sticker just for support. He is already a patron. He's already pledged donations to me monthly, and in the live streams, it is only flat earthers giving me donations. I am so grateful. Thank you, John Furr, and I am grateful to the globe believers who have pledged donations to my channel. I really appreciate it from everyone, but overwhelming support is from the flat earth here. I am not I am definitely not getting overwhelming support from the globers. You can see in my channel, I have got so many trolls. It is ridiculous. And you know when you've got so many trolls coming at you so hard that you are right over the target. All right, so Professor Dave here, he's asserted that we as flat earthers have a spotlight sun. This is the stigma that we need to get rid of here. Okay, so Professor Dave there says that we've got the spotlight sun. All right, let's look another video of Professor Dave. All right. Titan Long says generously flat. Thank you, Titan Long. You guys are awesome. Thank you for the super chat. Smash the super chats. Really appreciate it. Titan Long, you tried to enter the stream before. I'll put that link in the chat again if anyone wants to jump in after my presentation. If anyone wants to jump in after my presentation here on the Heliocentric Spotlight Sun, they are free to, just not at the moment. All right, so we have got the assertion that our sun on a flat Earth is a spotlight. All right, let's screen share another video of, I think it was Professor Dave again. All right. History of astronomy. This is going to be interesting. Here we go.
To attempt to measure the dimensions of the sphere. Eratosthenes was the first to do this, and with impressive accuracy. He reasoned that when the sun is directly overhead one object, it must cast a shadow on some other object sufficiently far away. He used a well in one part of Egypt and an obelisk in another part of Egypt to take some measurements. At noon on the summer solstice.
Hang on, Professor Day. Before we go any further, can anyone see a bit of a? Is he being a bit of a? What's that called when you criticize someone for doing something and then you do it yourself? Yeah, you're a hypocrite, Professor Dave. You absolutely have a spotlight sun right there in your diagram, in your own diagram, to explain Eratosthenes. He's what what has been called an experiment, definitely not an experiment. Yeah, parallel rays from a sphere sun. It is a spotlight on your globe model, on your heliocentric model. Your heliocentric model, if you believe in it, has a spotlight sun. It is on screen right there. Professor Dave telling us that the Eratosthenes observation has a spotlight sun. Not us. Not us flat earthers. We definitely don't believe or see or can prove that the sun is a spotlight. The rays are definitely not coming in parallel. We have crepuscular rays. Yeah, there's so many photos and videos of crepuscular rays. The sunlight is definitely not coming in parallel. But on your globe model, you need it to in this instance. Yeah, when you say Eratosthenes, it is invoking a sun that is coming in with parallel rays to the Earth right there on screen. Professor Dave is showing it there. You globe Earthers have a spotlight sun. That's what you show us in this example of Eratosthenes. It is hilarious, isn't it? Um, spotlight sun right there, and okay, let's continue. Let's keep going. I don't think there's anything else I want to share from that particular stream from Professor Dave. Let's just look at. Okay, if you don't believe in Professor Dave, evening Adam Meekum, how are you, mate? Just going over there the heliocentric spotlight sun that we went over yesterday in Quantum Erasers stream. So Professor Dave, if you missed it, Adam, asserted that us flat earthers have a spotlight sun above our heads. And then Professor Dave has just shown that he has a spotlight sun above his head on his heliocentric model to describe what he's seeing in the Eratosthenes observation. So where is this? So sun rays. So how do they look at this? This is great. I love just Googling things like this. So all I typed in was sun rays parallel seasons, yeah, because that's how they have to describe what is going on with their sun. A spotlight right there, the sun, a spotlight straight on Earth to explain the seasons. This sun, another spotlight here, straight to Earth to explain the seasons. Spotlight sun. All these examples are of a spotlight sun for the heliocentric model. The sun rays have to be coming in parallel. That's what they're telling us. They are literally describing their sun as a spotlight. It's going straight to Earth. Parallel rays. There was a better one. Ah, this one. I like this one. This is a good one. 90 degrees right there. and obviously all the parallel rays are forming different angles there. Can you achieve any angles on a globe Earth? Absolutely not. Nathan Oakley, how are you, mate? Level up, how are you? Good to see everyone here today. Just going through what the globe believes. They have to believe, not us. We don't have a spotlight sun. We definitely don't believe that. We don't assert that. The globe, Earth, definitely has a spotlight sun. Yeah? Parallel rays coming straight from the sun to the Earth as a spotlight. Why are the rays not going in all directions as you would think they would want to assert? No, the sun rays coming in parallel to the sun. A spotlight, if you will, right here. See? All these examples here are of a heliocentric spotlight sun. This is how they describe their seasons. The sun coming in parallel to the Earth as a spotlight. Why, heliocentric believers? Why do you have a sun that is a spotlight? All these images right here. It is of the sun being a spotlight. How embarrassing for the heliocentric model. Man, there is so many images. It is overwhelming. Why is your sun being depicted as a spotlight? Oh, this is a good one. Look at this, literally depicting a spotlight there on your globe Earth, on your heliocentric model. Hilarious. The heliocentric model has a spotlight sun. Yeah, just another one of those things like the black swan. Before the black swan, it was asserted that us flat earthers had an edge for boats to drop off over. No, it is actually globe earthers that claim that they have an edge. The geographic edge of their sphere, the thing that boats physically get blocked and go over. Where's your edge, globers? We don't assert we have an edge for boats to drop over. You guys do. It is meant to be physical, but the black swan absolutely destroyed that. Just like this claim, you say, globers, anti-flat earthers, that we, when we believe, it's not a belief, when we're living on a flat earth, you say that we have a spotlight sun above our heads. Why is your heliocentric model depicting your sun coming in parallel, being a spotlight? Look at this. Hilarious. There's so many images here. It's ridiculous. I think I've proved my point that the sun on the heliocentric model is a spotlight. Oh, man. How embarrassing for the globe model, for the heliocentric model. And they have to claim that, yeah, PJC net that it's 93 million miles away. It is beautiful when you can turn these things back on them. When they say to you that you have a spotlight sun above your flat earth. No, globe believers, heliocentric model zealots. You have the spotlight sun above your heads. But let's continue. If you still don't believe Professor Dave and the Google search, let's go on a different. Let's hear from your high priest. Yeah, everyone knows who this is going to be. Screen share. Hopefully the sound is on. Get the correct tab. There we go. All right. Everyone knows who this is going to be. Hopefully no ads.
It's a famous experiment conducted by Eratosthenes. Eratosthenes. And the two cities in the old world, and one of them, they knew that at 12 noon on a particular day of the year, that the sun was directly overhead and you could see the bottom of a well.
Oh, okay.
You don't run around looking at the bottoms of wells.
No.
Because the light doesn't take, it's just, no.
Doesn't get down there.
Doesn't get down there.
How can we use this observation to see if Earth's surface is curved? We needed another well. Turns out we can't see the bottom of both wells at the same time. What might explain this? Well, there are two possible explanations. First, we could have a flat Earth with the sun that's small and close by so that the light hits the second well.
Yeah, kind of like a spotlight, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Is that how you're depicting our sun on a flat Earth? It has to be like a spotlight. Yeah, a single point where the light is shining on us like a spotlight. Let's continue.
At an angle. Or second, we could have a curved Earth with a sun that's big and far away so that all the light comes in parallel.
Like a massive spotlight coming straight in parallel. Thanks, Neil. Thanks for clearing that up, mate. Another example of a heliocentric spotlight sun. That is your claim. Heliocentric believers, globe believers. This is what you have above your heads. A spotlight sun. Hilarious. So when you say that we have a spotlight sun, no. It is you, heliocentric model believers, that have the spotlight sun. To explain things like Eratosthenes. Yeah, to explain how Eratosthenes supposedly measured the Earth to be a globe. He first had to presuppose that it was a globe to begin with, and then he had to presuppose that we had a spotlight sun above our heads on this globe. It is firmly a globe claim that you have a spotlight above your heads. Okay, so what's the next one? There's another one. Okay, so even this isn't a new thing. This isn't something that has just popped up now. It is not something that is now being claimed. It has been around for a while. This is a bit of an older video. Let's go through this one.
How would you set about to measure the Earth with the mathematical knowledge and tools you already possess? A Greek named Eratosthenes did it 240 years before Christ. He was head of the great library of Alexandria in Egypt, a city built by the Greeks. He, like others, suspected that the world was round. After all, the sun and the moon were round.
So in the first instance here, he said he suspected that the Earth was round before even proving it. He thought the Earth was round. He couldn't just start with a clean slate and just go, just say, I wonder what the world could be, and then do an observation or an experiment from that. No, he first had to presuppose that he lives on a spherical Earth. Like every other globe proof, you need to presuppose that you are already living on a globe Earth. We're going to need half of that, and that's never been proven.
He had also noticed that the sun's rays fell in parallel lines. Greeks before him had divided the circle into degrees and had measured angles. With this information and a logical mind, he measured the Earth. Here is how. While visiting the city of Syene one midsummer's day, Eratosthenes noticed that the reflection of the sun could be seen in the bottom of a deep well. The sun was overhead, and the rays pointed to the center of the Earth. He remembered.
There it is. The spotlight heliocentric sun. Once again, this isn't a new claim. It is a very old claim. Over 2,000-year-old claim, apparently. That Eratosthenes, first, he presupposed that he was living on a spherical Earth before he even proved it. Yeah, begging the question, as all globers have to do in the first instance, have to beg the question that you're already on a globe. He just said that he suspected that he was living on a globe. And then you have to treat the sun as a spotlight in your heliocentric model. How embarrassing for you globe believers. This is what you actually believe when you are saying that you have a heliocentric model. It has a spotlight sun, not us flat earthers. I don't know how many more times I can go through these examples. The heliocentric sun is a spotlight. If you are claiming that it has parallel rays, it definitely doesn't. We definitely do not see parallel rays here on Earth. It is a made-up claim from the globe believers, but it is a claim that they have a spotlight for a sun. It is hilarious. I love it. All right, so now this actually proves a bit of an awkward situation for you globe believers, having a spotlight sun, having parallel rays, that is. Yeah, now that we know that you definitely claim that you have parallel rays, that you have a spotlight sun coming directly to the Earth, this actually creates a bit of a problem for something that globe believers, the heliocentric model, is something else that they like to claim. And this is a good little meme that I found, a flat Earth meme. So scientists say that rays reach the Earth parallel, except on an eclipse when they converge to a cone to make a small path of totality. Does that look like parallel rays in that bottom image there? After I've just gone through all the examples that you need a spotlight sun, the rays coming in parallel. Now all of a sudden, when you want to explain something like an eclipse, you don't have parallel rays? What is going on here? This is doublespeak of the highest order to explain what you see of the sun. Yeah? You like to claim, when talking about Eratosthenes, you like to claim that the sun rays are coming in parallel. But then you doublespeak and say, well, on the eclipses, they're not coming in parallel. They're divergent and convergent. What's going on, heliocentric model believers? What is the rhetoric? What is your actual story? All right, let's continue. So now that we've gone through that your sun, your heliocentric sun, is a spotlight. You need parallel rays to explain the Eratosthenes observations to assert that what you're seeing is a globe. Yeah, that you forget that you've already presupposed it. Yeah, you need parallel rays to assert anything to do with observations on the globe. What about the eclipses? I'm trying to pull up the crash course in astronomy number 5. Now, again, from, no, it's not Professor Dave, it's someone else.
Sometimes as much as 5 times per year. What's happening?
Yep.
Welcome to Google TV, where you don't.
No, do not welcome Google TV. Apologize for the ads on this channel. I knew it was going to happen. I knew they were going to get me eventually. I will put the screen sharing back up when all these unskippable ads stop. All right, so this is another guy explaining what he needs to see to explain eclipses. Do you think it's going to be parallel lines? Let's see.
Long shadow. Usually that shadow misses the Earth, but during an eclipse, the moon's shadow falls on the Earth's surface. In fact, there are 2 shadows from the moon, one inside the other. One is a narrow cone tapering to a point away from the moon. If you're anywhere physically inside this cone, the moon appears big enough to completely block the sun. That means the shadow is very dark, and we call it the umbra. Big enough to completely block the sun.
I'll just leave it on this image right here. This image right here, that's great. That's perfect. That's exactly what I want to see. So we've got now an image of a sun that does not have parallel rays. What is going on, heliocentric believers? What happened to the parallel rays that you needed to explain the Eratosthenes observation? What is going on? Why are these rays coming in and creating 2 shadows, as that bloke just detailed? That shadow of the moon, that is smaller than the moon in your heliocentric model. How is that possible when the sun rays are meant to be coming in parallel? Yeah, Arwen says it's not to scale, obviously. Thanks, Arwen. Thanks for pointing that out. I'd appreciate it if you point out that the sun rays are now not coming in parallel to explain eclipses on the heliocentric model. Look at this doublespeak. They can't decide whether the rays come in parallel, because obviously that's devastating to the globe model, to the heliocentric model, because that's a spotlight sun. So to explain eclipses, they have to say that no, the sunlight is not coming in parallel. We've got 2 shadows from the supposed spherical moon right here shining onto the Earth, the presupposed spherical Earth. Diane says, lol, multi-billion, million, billion, trillion scale. Yeah, well, scale's not too important because it doesn't exist in the first instance. All I want you guys to take away from this is the contradictions of the heliocentric model. They need parallel rays to describe what's happening with Eratosthenes. The claim that the Earth, the globe Earth, has been measured. But then when they explain how eclipses happen, what happened to the parallel rays? Why are they coming in on funny angles here, making 2 different shadows, the umbra, that little black dot there, and the penumbra, that wider shadow? Why is there 2 shadows when there's parallel rays coming in? Double speaking as finest, says Level Seeker. Absolutely. Ah, God. Let's continue. I think I've got one of Professor Dave here. Pretty sure I do. Get rid of that screen share. Professor Dave just detailed at the start of my presentation how the sun has parallel rays coming in to explain the Eratosthenes observation. Oh no, this is National Geographic. Maybe I didn't have one of Professor Dave saying it. All right.
When the moon does eclipse the sun, it casts 2 types of shadows on Earth. A smaller, darker shadow known as the umbra, and a larger shadow known as the penumbra.
Once again, globe believers, what happened to your parallel rays? Why is there an umbra and penumbra when the rays of the sun are meant to be coming in parallel. Why are they coming in on different angles, making an umbra and a penumbra? What is this doublespeak? Alwyn says everything in the heliocentric model is perfectly consistent until there is obvious contradictions, and then you just have to go with it. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's perfectly consistent. Maybe it might work in their model, but I'm just explaining here that it does not even work in their model. Their model first begins with the Eratosthenes observation, where you need parallel rays. You need the sun to be coming in parallel as a spotlight, if you will. We have a spotlight, you guys have a spotlight. But to explain eclipses, you need to not have parallel rays. As the image would suggest here, you've got an umbra, a little shadow of the moon, and a penumbra, a big shadow of the moon. How do you have two shadows of something when they're meant to be parallel rays? It's meant to be coming in parallel. There's meant to be just one shadow of the moon. It's meant to be around about the size of the moon. If we're begging the question going into the heliocentric model, this is just what I'm detailing here. Even in their model, it does not work anymore. You do not have parallel rays if you're describing something like an eclipse. It's hilarious, the contradictions of the heliocentric model. Let's just go through a few images of what they're claiming the solar, what is happening when we're seeing the solar eclipse. I'll just go back to the parallel light rays here. Remember this, the Eratosthenes explanation that the sun is a spotlight coming in parallel. Remember all these images that says the sun has parallel rays coming straight to the earth. Look at all these, a spotlight on the heliocentric model. There we go, spotlight. No umbra and penumbra for the earth there. Or there would be no umbra and penumbra for the moon on the earth either. And so let's go to Google images. Let me point out that they love to use the Muppet Vision images to explain what they're seeing. Eclipses. There we go. Google search eclipses. Now what's happening? Are they parallel lines coming in to explain eclipses? No. Where did the parallel lines go, globe believers? Why is your model contradicting itself whenever it suits? Look at that, the sun rays coming in to form an umbra and a penumbra. What is going on? Why are we now not seeing parallel rays to explain what is happening for this eclipse? Why do you say that you need parallel rays to explain the Eratosthenes observation, and then to explain eclipses, you don't have parallel rays anymore? You've got, look at this, a couple of shadows here, and still around the outside you've got some parallel rays coming in. Contradictions of the heliocentric model. Look at this. This is a great one. No parallel rays there. It's hilarious. The contradictions of the heliocentric model when it suits them. Now, us flat earthers, we don't need to have a spotlight sun. We don't need to explain eclipses. Yeah, they happen. We've witnessed them. Atlantis Rising says they want to come on for 10 minutes. Yeah, definitely. The link is now in the chat. You can come on. Yeah, I've got about 15 minutes till the end of the stream. This is pretty much the end of the presentation anyway. I'm just detailing the contradictions of the heliocentric model. It is hilarious. First, they start off with the spotlight sun. Yeah, they say that we have a spotlight over our heads on a flat earth. No, we don't. That's not our claim. We look at the sun, we see crepuscular rays. Definitely not a spotlight sun. It is just presented to us, each and every one of us, differently. It is all due to how we perceive those things in the sky. They are all presented to us individually. It is an individual experience. Here on the heliocentric model, to explain the Eratosthenes observations, to measure the Earth, you need a spotlight sun, but then to explain eclipses, where did the parallel lines go? Where are they gone? Atlantis Rising, hopefully you are clicking on that StreamYard link. It is in the chat there if you want to come on and chat for a few minutes. Arwen says, if terrestrial refraction can bend the ball into an apparent flat plane, then surely lunar refraction can make parallel sun rays bend into umbra penumbra? Yeah, possibly, Arwen. But that's not what they claim. They don't claim that the, lunar refraction is bending those parallel sun rays into the umbra and penumbra. They say for Eratosthenes that it has to be absolutely parallel. More doublespeak. More examples of blatant lies. Armin says, read it out loud, Mitchell. Atlantis Rising says they've got a speculative take on what Earth is down to a 5-minute rap. Cool. Yep, jump in, Atlantis Rising. I think he's in the chat. Armin says he's a globetrotter. Cool, Aaron. Oh, Borwin. Yeah, that's who we're seeing at the moment, Borwin. Atlantis Rising. Just follow the link if you would like to come in. Just have to clear my throat for a second. I hope you enjoyed that presentation. It is just more contradictions of the globe model. If people say, yeah, things do work on that globe model, they definitely don't. They definitely don't have, number one, parallel sun rays, and then non-parallel sun rays to explain things like eclipses, the umbra and penumbra. Hope you all enjoyed that presentation. Contradictions of the heliocentric model. And I did title it the Heliocentric Spotlight Sun. I'll just, while we're waiting for Atlantis Rising to join, I'll just put some more images up of the spotlight sun on the heliocentric model. Look at this stuff, man. It's hilarious. I love this. Probably shouldn't have gone into it. There are so many images of this spotlight sun on a heliocentric model. The claim firmly comes from the globe believers, the heliocentric model, that you guys have the spotlight sun. Look at that, spotlights of parallel rays coming in, hitting your globe Earth. Why do you have a spotlight sun, globe believers? Hilarious. Atlantis Rising, you are running out of time, unfortunately. I was going to go into what is the sun. That may be a topic for another day. I think we'll just leave it as these images here, the spotlight sun of the heliocentric model. Hopefully everyone's happy and healthy today. Hope you have enjoyed this Flat Earth School stream. It is a bit different to what everyone's used to. It is raining outside. It is a gloomy, rainy, thunderstormy day. I haven't really heard many. Oh, cool. Atlantis Rising, join, please, before I end the stream. We've got about 10 minutes anyway. That's why I'm not outside. That's why you're not seeing the beautiful Flat Earth School around us. All right, Atlantis Rising is trying to join. Atlantis Rising, join, please, before I end the stream. We've got about 10. There's a bit of feedback there. How are you, mate? Can you hear me? Just mute the watch page if you can, please. Yes. Whoop, still. Turn the speakers down. How are you, mate?
Okay. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, got you loud and clear. Thank you, Atlantis Rising, for joining. How are you, mate?
You've got a good channel, one of the best Flat Earth channels, I think.
Couldn't fault you there. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, I mean, you don't kind of go into the speculation too much, but I mean, I go into the speculation because it kind of makes things a bit more fun, does it? You know, and it's like, I mean, I just think once you realize that the ocean is level and that something holds in the gases and heat, I think heat's a very good important thing to hammer through to people, is the heat of the earth is held in by some sort of barrier, and the gases as well, obviously the air, the oxygen. And so once you get to that sort of point of view, you then have to wonder what the earth is really for. And it's obviously some sort of environment to experience life in a way that's meaningful. Because if you didn't have a body, your body, you would just be a spirit that was just sort of floating about doing nothing. It'd be hard to kind of really learn anything. Like in the film The Matrix, when they're in that room that's all white, you can't really learn anything in that room that's all filled with this nothing. You've got to experience life through some sort of body. So that's why we're in these bodies. And so we come to Earth in these bodies, which is Earth is like an environment to learn things in. And obviously, we're living in a time where, you know, idiots are in charge of the Earth, and they're trying to make our experience on Earth as dumbed down as possible, dumbed down through your job, your education, the media. And so once you kind of break out of that cage, you realize that life is more about what we're doing right now, you know, talking on podcasts, using YouTube, talking to each other, experiencing life through a more direct, like a more direct experience. Because when you tap into what's been fed to you through the government and the media, you end up becoming a bit of an idiot, a bit of a retard, and if you break out of that, you start to learn a lot more things. And that's how I ended up with Flat Earth, because before I was looking into Flat Earth, I was looking into the hollow Earth and trying to figure out what the Earth was, and, you know, is it hollow? What is it? And so when Eric Dubé came along, I ended up going, okay, that makes sense, because I already knew that NASA was full of shit. And so when Eric Dubé came along and said, this is probably what the Earth is more like, I was like, okay, that makes sense. So it wasn't really a big game changer for me. You know, some people, when they get into Flat Earth, it's like a big shock to the system. And that's why people like Simon, Dan, and Professor Bob, Dave, Jimmy, Susan, whoever the fuck these people are, to them, it's a big shock to the system to be hit with this kind of information. But for somebody like me, it's not really that big of it wasn't that big of a deal. But I mean, I kind of sympathize with these kind of globe earthers and flat earth debunkers, because obviously they're having almost like a nervous breakdown with this kind of information. So
I agree with this sort of information, like the presentation that I've just given, the contradictions of the heliocentric model. They first assert that they have parallel rays to explain things like the Eratosthenes observation, and then they have to say that no, it's not parallel anymore to explain things like the eclipse. They have cognitive dissonance of the highest order. They cannot put their finger down to where they live, what is going on. They have to go into imagination land. They flip-flop all over the place. And yeah, as you said, we just use our world around us, our observations. It is obvious that we are contained somehow. What the container is, I wouldn't have a clue. I'm not going to assert that we have a shape to the container, that there is a physical I'm not sure. All that we can know or we can experience is, yeah, we are contained. And heat is a big part of that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I've been going through this in with my children in homeschool at the moment. My eldest son, he's in year 6. He's about to go into high school, and he's learning all things about matter and how heat affects matter. And he can go through the process of the phase changes. So when you introduce heat to liquid, like water, it turns to gas. And he understands, and he can describe what would happen to that gas if we were next to a vacuum, if there was space, as they call it, for the gas to expand into. It is things like that, just observations of our natural earth, natural laws, things that happen and never not happen. That's why they're natural laws.
Yeah.
That we need to get back to Flat Earth School. That's why I make these streams, Flat Earth School. It is around us 24/7 since the beginnings of existence. It is our best teacher.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's quite some. I think there's actually quite simple ways proven what the Earth is. I mean, one of the simple ones would be to just build some sort of small craft, like a small blimp that would fly across the North Pole and show you what was really at the North Pole. It wouldn't have to be manned. It would just have to be powered by a simple means, even if it was powered by solar power and it had cameras and it was live streaming to YouTube. Obviously, you'd have to fly below the clouds to show what was at the North Pole. So whether there's like some sort of large opening there, or there's is to say like a magnetic mountain, to say that, you know, like it's called Mount Meru in Tibet and in Buddhism and things like that. I mean, whether there's whatever's there, that would be a lot. Yeah.
That's a good point. I haven't seen images. Well, I've seen images, but I haven't seen footage from the North Pole. And inversely, the South Pole.
No, if you go on Google, if you go on YouTube, the best you find is like a commercial flight where people are filming out of the window, but they're too high to show anything. You would need to fly at like 1,000 feet above the ground. You know, you need to fly below the clouds, and but you don't need to have a pilot. All you need is like some sort of small weather balloon type of thing that flew at a low altitude, and it.
That one says a blimp drone.
Yeah, I mean, just something cheap, something that only costs a few $1,000. Like, you know, because a lot of people are coming out with these big ideas about, you know, actually people go into the Antarctic. You'll never go to the Antarctica, because if it's not a question right now if what we say is right. We know what Antarctica really is, but if you actually went there, you're so far away. Once you started to go into the interior Antarctica, it would become so dark that you wouldn't even with the most powerful infrared camera, you wouldn't be able to film anything. So it's completely pointless going there. I mean, I don't know what Admiral Byrd is really taught what happened to him, because if what he said is true, then I don't think it would have been possible for him to have seen anything, because he would have been so out of range of the sun that it would have been pitch dark. So, I mean, I think you should just forget about Antarctica unless you really want to go there. Because
it's questions like that we have to ask, because we're not really shown too much things from Antarctica. If you look at the Flat Earth Friend Finder, we do have a Flat Earther in Antarctica. So I encourage people to jump on the Flat Earth Friend Finder and ask him some questions. Ask him what he's seen from down there. Atlantis Rising, thank you for coming on. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to cut you off. If you would like to join, if you'd like to join again, like do it a bit earlier, because I'm ending the stream now. But thank you for coming on. Thank you for putting some great ideas, just your point of view across. So I appreciate it. Thanks, mate. Have a good day.
Yeah, I just like the physical, practical, real world ideas of actually getting footage of what is at the North Pole, or if somebody wants to really be bold and get footage of what's really beyond Antarctica, that's great. Because
let's start the North. I think
the North Pole is probably more realistic. You could probably float over there.
There's more land. There's more ways of getting there. It is more accessible. Yeah, definitely. That's a great idea. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Atlantis Rising. I appreciate you.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for listening. Cheers.
See you, mate. That was Atlantis Rising. Thank you, guys, for joining my stream. I am going to have to end it now. If you feel like the world turns on you, turn to Flat Earth School. It is around us 24/7 since the beginning of existence. I've been Mitchell from Australia. You've been joining me on Flat Earth School. Until next time, see you later, guys. Get out into Flat Earth School and experience it for yourself.